Srisht, if you're good. Okay. All right, good evening and welcome to the Tier 1 quarterfinal. Let me put up the screen. Here we go. All right, in Tier 1, we have Venkatraghavan Sahasranaman, who we will address as Venkat. Puts up this match. Dan Feitel is in seat 2, Pat Gibson, seat 3, and Vinoo Sanjay, seat 4. All right, so we have just confirmed that you can see the screen. Any of you? Okay, good. And also confirm that you cannot see a Word doc that I have opened somewhere as a cheat sheet. Okay, very good. Excellent. All right, great. So without further ado, we will begin. But just before that, quick note to acknowledge the people who have set this quiz. This quiz is brought to you by Amrit Pritam Chetia, Ananya Upadhyaya, Ajay Ganguly, Hari Parameshwaran, Nitish Khadia, Rahul Kotelgi, Shresht Shah, Vikas Plakot, and yours truly, Abhinav Dasgupta. Sander is actually the only one of us who doesn't have a quad this week, but yes, he'll be back from the semifinals. That's 9 of us out of the 10 who said this quiz for you. Before we begin, one quick note from me. This is sort of my regular word of advice to quizzes. Not that any of you needs this, but yeah, I mean, it's a crunch match. There might be instances where you forget stuff. It's okay. It's absolutely okay. Just be kind to yourself, to your opponents, most importantly to me, and I promise I'll be kind. All right. So with that, let's begin the Tier 1 quarterfinal. Venkat, your first question coming up on screen. Okay, let me just get to this one out of the way. Yeah. All right. So Venkat, which hit Amazon Prime Video show is named for a town in Uttar Pradesh famous for its carpet industry? The nickname of the lead character in this show is Kaleen Bhaiya, meaning the big brother of carpets, since carpets are a front for his drugs and arms business.
Mirzapur.
Mirzapur is correct. Good start by Venkat. That's on the scoreboard. Your next question, Venkat. With 6 nominations, which cinematic legend holds the record for the maximum number of Oscar nominations without a win for Best Original Screenplay? His first such nomination was for the 1946 Roberto Rossellini film Paisan. He is, however, associated with the maximum win record in a different Academy Award category to add to the honorary Oscar for Lifetime Achievement received in 1993, shortly before his death. Ten seconds.
Kazan.
Not Elia Kazan. Dan?
Pass.
Pat?
Pass.
Vinoo?
Pass.
Okay, passing to everyone. The assistant for Roberto Rossellini, in fact, even in Rome Open City, was a fledgling young director called Federico Fellini. This is Federico Fellini, who won the Best Foreign Film Award 4 times for La Strada, Knights of Cabiria, 8½, and Amarcord. Interestingly, he also had an Oscar bridesmaid record for 5 nominations without a win for Best Screenplay. That's Federico Fellini. All right, Dan, your first question coming up. When large volumes of magma erupt over a short time, it can cause the ground above it to collapse, creating a depression. What is the term given to such formations, deriving very aptly from the Latin for cooking pot? The island of Santorini is an example of this, having been so shaped in the aftermath of the Minoan eruption around 1600 BC.
Caldera.
Caldera is correct. Do the Caldera tour when you are in Santorini. Quite lovely one. Last vacation I took before the pandemic. All right, then the ancient trade route known as the Silk Route was a 6,400 kilometers long stretch linking China with the West. It followed the Great Wall of China to the northwest and then bypassed which desert before climbing the Pamir Mountains, crossing Afghanistan and then reaching the Levant. To its east lies the Gobi Desert. So need the name of this other desert we're talking about.
The Karakum.
Not the Karakoram. That?
Takla Makan.
Taklamakan Desert is the answer, to the west of the Gobi Desert. Perfect answer there. Pat gets onto the scoreboard too. And Pat, here are your two directs. Which Sufi Muslim ethnic group of Western Africa formed the largest subgroup in Senegal, aside from a strong presence in the Gambia and Mauritania? They're the descendants of the namesake empire that succeeded the Mali Empire and also lend their name to Western Africa's most common rice dish.
Jollof.
Jollof or Wolof is correct. Well done, Pat. Quite popular in parts of West Africa, including Ghana, Guinea, and that entire belt. All right, your next question. In Greek mythology, when Ulysses or Odysseus went away for the Trojan War, which friend of his took up the role of educating and guiding Odysseus' son Telemachus in his absence? His name is now a word in the English dictionary sharing the same sentiment.
Mentor.
Mentor is correct. As Tennyson put it, this is my son, my own Telemachus. He works his work, I mind. That's how he does it, because mentor guided him. Perfect. 2 points there to Pat and Vinoo. Here are your directs. The Nomad Club is the appropriately titled frequent flyer program of the largest airline group from which Central Asian country? The country's name, in fact, is cognate with a fierce Turkish word originally meaning nomad or wanderer. Seconds.
Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan is correct. The Turkish word being Cossack in this case. Well done. Yeah, sure. All right, your next question, Vinoo. The shapes of letters in the English language are pictographic or ideographic and use an image to represent an idea or a sound. Historians theorize that they come from many sources like the Phoenicians, the Egyptians, and the Greeks, among others. The symbol for which letter in the English alphabet is based on either the eye of a needle, a knot, or a monkey with its tail hanging down? Seconds.
G.
Not G. Passing to Venkat.
P.
Not P either. Dan.
Q.
Q is correct. If not P, then Q. Just move one letter ahead in the alphabet. This is Q. It's a good way to start to sort of alphabet quad. Q. All right. Venkat, moving to round 2, your question to start with. The Silk Road allowed Buddhist monks to move outward and spread ideas of Buddhism beyond China. In which Afghan valley did they stop to build Buddhist monasteries in large numbers? Monks at the monasteries lived as hermits in small caves carved into the sides of the cliffs located at this valley. The valley is in the province of the same name in central Afghanistan today.
Bamiyan.
Bamiyan is correct. Think Afghanistan, think Buddhism. That should be the first name that comes to mind. Site of some pretty barbaric acts in 2001 by the Taliban. Your next question, Venkat. Which word that many people got introduced to through the game of Scrabble is a monosyllabic term used in Chinese tradition to refer to the vital force forming part of any living entity and is a central tenet of both Chinese traditional medicine and the martial arts?
Chi or QI.
Chi is correct, QI, and yes, another bit of a hat tip to QI over there, since it's a quiz we're talking about. So great answer there, Venkat. This is Chi, spelled QI. Quite interesting. All right, Dan. In 2009, which radio station established by Guglielmo Marconi in 1931 decided that it would start airing commercial advertisements for the first time to offset the rising cost of transmission? Of course, all advertisements aired would have to meet high moral standards.
NPR.
Not the National Public Radio, no. Vinoo?
Pass.
Pat?
The Vatican City radio service.
This is the Vatican Radio, absolutely right. 1931,
Oh.
Marconi started the Vatican Radio, and hence the highest moral standards determined by the Catholic Church. All right, Dan, here we go. What name is given to organic compounds characterized by the presence of a carbonyl group in which the carbon atom is covalently bonded to an oxygen atom? The simplest of this class of organic compounds is used as nail polish remover or as paint thinner. Now, before you answer this, Dan, I'll just tell you that we're looking for a generic name, right? A generic name for these organic compounds. Don't name a specific compound.
So
Right.
the acetyl.
I'll prompt you on that, which is exactly what I meant. Don't name a specific compound. Name.
I guess I might just be wrong because I thought it was the group was called the acetyl group. So I don't have anything else besides that.
All right, let's pass on. Vinoo?
Ketones.
Ketone is the generic name. Absolutely.
Oh.
Acetone is just the simplest ketone. So ketone gets Vinoo a nice steal, and that takes Vinoo on to 2. All right, Pat, your first question. Sorry about that, Dan. Bit of a.
It's okay.
All right, this set of medical symptoms with unknown causes experienced by US government and military personnel posted a broad range in severity from pain and ringing in the ears to cognitive difficulties. Attributed to microwave radiation, pesticides, cricket noises, and Russian intelligence agents. In which capital city were these symptoms first seen in 2016, thus giving the syndrome its name?
Havana.
This is the Havana syndrome, the capital of Cuba. Well done, Pat. Your next question. Which country holds the record for the maximum number of Best Foreign Film Oscar nominations without a single win, with 10 nominations between 1964 and 2011? Efraim Kishon, Moshe Mizrahi, and Joseph Cedar are the 3 directors from this country to have 2 of their films nominated. Unsuccessfully, of course.
Israel.
Yep, the names should give that away. Israel it is, and that's a good 4 on 4 so far to Pat. Vinoo, your first question. In organic chemistry, what name is given to any of a class of organic compounds in which a carbon atom shares a double bond with an oxygen atom, a single bond with a hydrogen atom, and a single bond with another atom or group of atoms? The simplest of this class of organic compounds was a key component in Damien Hirst's artwork titled The Physical Impossibility of Death in the Mind of Someone Living. Again, think of the group of compounds and not a specific one.
Aldehydes.
Aldehydes is correct. So this was that shark that was sort of floating in formaldehyde. That's The Physical Impossibility of Death in the Mind of Someone Living by Hirst. Well done, Vinoo. Your next question. You're starting a game of Scrabble, but as luck would have it, you have 3 tiles of the same vowel, which, by the way, is the most common one. But then you also notice that you have an 8-point tile, a 10-point tile, and 2 other consonants. So what word for a morally unrestrained woman derived from the name of King Ahab's wife in the Old Testament do you play, in the process cleaning out your rack and earning yourself a 50-point bonus? I'll give you a few extra seconds on this, slight bit of working out.
Jezebel.
You don't need those extra seconds. Jezebel is correct. King Ahab and Queen Jezebel, who were there in the time of Elijah, I think, in the Old Testament. Jezebel is also a word, therefore, for a morally unrestrained woman. Well done. That's just 1 point instead of 328, but well done nonetheless, Vinoo. And Venkat, we move to round 3 for your first question. Pigeon with Peas, sometimes referred to as Dove with Green Peas, is a 1911 painting by Picasso. On 20th May 2010, it was stolen from the Paris Museum of Modern Art. However, where was the painting seen in a Moroccan lair in 2015?
The Bond film Spectre.
This is the Bond film Spectre, absolutely correct. It's one of those tropes in cinema where you have stolen art showing up as, in the villain's chamber. Famously, I think in Dawn in India, they had Monk scream, I think, showing up in, in the bronze layer. All right, Venkat, your next question. The November 11, 1945 recording of an episode of which popular radio show saw Glenn Seaborg appear as a special guest and make an unplanned announcement of the discovery of americium and curium? Most, if not all, participants in FLQL would have been unable to take part in the program if it aired today because they capped the age of participants at 16. Seconds.
Spelling bee.
Not the spelling bee, done. Vinoo?
Us.
Pat.
Pass.
All right, that passes everyone. This is a show called Quiz Kids, right? Which was one of the first ever quiz shows in any medium. This is where Glenn Seaborg famously came and announced discovery of these two transuranic elements. It was actually capped for kids till the age of 16, so most FLQL participants would definitely be able to take part. All right, Dan, your first question coming up. This erroneous banner headline appeared on the front page of the Chicago Daily Tribune on November 3, 1948. It was also one of those rare occasions where a newspaper headline was featured in a famous photograph the following day. What was this three-word factually incorrect headline?
Dewey defeats Truman.
That's absolutely correct. You would have seen the photo of Truman himself holding that headline the next day after he won the 1948 election. Thomas Dewey defeats Truman. Then your next question, as its name suggests, this country's second most populous city, Kuala Belait, sits at the mouth of the Belait River. Its sister city has been Surabaya in East Java, which is incidentally Indonesia's second most populous city after Jakarta. In which small country, separated into two parts by the Sarawak district of Limbang, is Kuala Belait located? Seconds.
Brunei.
Brunei is correct, absolutely. Pretty small country. All right. Pat, your question coming up. In the mid-6th century, which emperor sent two monks as spies on the Silk Road, specifically to steal silkworm eggs, resulting in silk production in the Mediterranean and thus giving the Byzantine Empire a monopoly on silk production in Europe?
Justinian.
Justinian is correct. Well done, Pat. 5 on 5. In 1953, when the English Football Association named the 10 best captains in the world at the time, who was the only one from Asia to make the list? He missed a penalty against France at the 1948 Olympics, captained India at Helsinki in 1952, and played 19 years as a Mohun Bagan defender between 1942 and 1960.
Khan.
Not Khan, no. Vinoo?
Us.
Right, Venkat.
Chuni Goswami.
That means there, not Chuni Goswami. Done.
Pass.
Okay, everyone passes. This is one of India's greatest ever footballers, Shailen Manna, 1940s and 50s, probably the first sort of international standard footballer that the country produced, or maybe not, as we will see, but Shailen Manna nonetheless. Vinoo, what was the collective name of the three Greek goddesses, Clotho, Lachesis, and Atropos, also called Moirai in Greek, to determine the course of human life? This name is related to an English word that defines something with an inevitable outcome.
The three fates.
The three fates is correct. Clotho, Lachesis, and Atropos are the three fates. Well done. The next question. Which real-life leader of a cult strongest in the 1980s is said to have inspired Pankaj Tripaঠি's character Khanna Guruji in Sacred Games? Show writer Varun Grover clarified that this character was written a month before the hit Netflix documentary Wild Wild Country was released in 2018.
Rajneesh.
Rajneesh or Osho is correct. That gives Vinoo 6 points now. And we move to round 4, starting with you, Venkat. By what 5-letter term of Javanese origin are destructive mud flows composed of a mixture of water and pyroclastic debris from a volcanic eruption known? The flow is extremely fast, capable of causing destruction on the scale seen in the Armero tragedy in Colombia that took 23,000 lives following the eruption of Nevado del Ruiz. In seconds.
Pass.
Passing to Dan.
Pass.
Vinoo?
Lahar.
Lahar is correct. This is Lahar, which I'm told is cognate with Leher in Hindi, which means wave. This is
Sounds kitchenish. Anyway.
sounds kitchenish, which is why I said I'm told. All right. Venkat, your next question. Representing over a third of Ethiopia's population, the language of which ethnic group was banned by Haile Selassie from education institutions and administration? The group has been at odds with both the erstwhile empire and the current government in a bid to form an independent state in their namesake region.
Eritrea.
Ethnic group is not Eritrea, Dan.
Tigray?
Not Tigray. Pat?
Oromo.
This is the Oromo, absolutely. It's fantastic answer there by Pat. This is the Oromo group. Abiy Ahmed and gang have sort of been accused of trying to put them down. Dan, your first question. What is Oman Air's frequent flyer program called, named for the hero in a story cycle from the region who was born in the Omani town of Sohar?
Sinbad.
Sinbad is correct. It's called the Sinbad Miles. Good answer there. Dan, over a period of 39 years, and most recently for the 2020 film Hillbilly Elegy, who received a total of 4 Best Lead Actress and 4 Best Supporting Actress nominations, tying with Peter O'Toole for the highest number of acting Oscar nominations without a single win. In this context, her surname may be considered an acronym of sorts.
Oh, come on.
10 seconds. Dan, you can answer.
Adams.
Not Adams. Vinoo?
Pass.
Venkat?
Glenn Close.
Glenn Close, an acronym.
right.
She came really, really close. 8 times, 8 nominations, but never won.
Nice.
Glenn Close, 8 nominations. Hopefully she will win one of these days. Pat, your first question. Abhishek Banerjee was the casting director and also played the dark character Hathoda Tyagi in the Amazon Prime video show Patal Lok. In chopping off his own thumb to establish his devotion to his master, which figure from Indian mythology who similarly showed his respects to his proclaimed Guru Dronacharya did Tyagi allude to?
Arjuna.
Not Arjuna, although Arjuna's guru was Dronacharya as well, so not a bad guess at all, Pat. Vinoo?
Ekalavya.
Ekalavya is correct. Ekalavya was this Vitanoa, so to say. And in fact, the story goes that Dronacharya kind of wanted to ensure Arjun would be the greatest archer in the world. And so Ekalavya was kind of this sacrificial lamb, so to say. Good answer there by Vinoo. Pat, your second question. This intense black colored stone is a naturally occurring volcanic glass formed from felsic lava. It is commonly used to create a shield of protection to ward off negative or harmful energies in Feng Shui. What stone that supposedly gets its name from a Roman explorer who discovered it?
Obsidian.
Obsidian. Perfect answer from Obsidius, the Roman explorer who was responsible for its discovery. That moves to 9. Vinoo. Supercalifragilistic Celtic card atrocious read the headlines in the February 9, 2000 edition of The Sun, arguably the greatest headline in football history. Inverness Caledonian Thistle had just stunned Celtic 3-1 in the Scottish Cup third round. What 1964 film was the original source of this title?
Mary Poppins.
That's, I would say, a supercalifragilisticexpialidocious answer. Well done. That's 1 point to you. All right, Vinoo. In terms of its largest cities, the country of Myanmar is unusual in that its capital, Naypyidaw, is the third most populous. While Yangon is easily the largest, which city on the east bank of the Irrawaddy is the second? It may have been named after a circular configuration seen in Hinduism and Buddhism.
Mandalay.
Mandalay from Mandala is the answer, and Vinoo's first to go on to double figures. That completes half our quiz. Vinoo on 10, Pat on 9, and Venkat and Dan on 5. Still some way to go. We begin with round 5. Venkat, your first question. Between 1915 and 1926, an epidemic of encephalitis lethargica is estimated to have affected more than 1 million people around the world with no apparent cause, leaving them in a statue-like condition, speechless and motionless. Which book by Oliver Sacks, later made into a movie with Robin Williams and Robert De Niro, recounts the lives of the victims of this epidemic?
Awakenings.
Awakening is correct. Great answer there by Venkat. By Sacks. Your next question, the symbol for which letter in the English alphabet is derived from the Phoenician and possibly Egyptian hieroglyphic for an I?
E.
Not E. Dan?
Pass.
Pat?
Pass.
Pass.
Okay, that passes everyone. They actually meant the eyeball in this case. This is O. This is how O originates.
Oh.
Symbol for O originates. All right. Dan, your question's coming up. The 1964 episode, 10 minutes from now, from the Alfred Hitchcock hour, had a bait and switch plot where an art gallery is threatened by a suspected bomber who's actually in cahoots with a group of art thieves who steal a painting and replace it with a forgery. This episode predicted the actual theft of which painting some 25 years later? The painting is currently the most valuable stolen object in the world, valued at $250 million. Seconds.
I don't know, the Scream.
Not the Scream, but
Pass.
The Storm on the Sea of Galilee.
Oh, that's a brilliant wrong answer, and I'll tell you why. Venkat?
Pass.
All right, The Storm on the Sea of Galilee by Rembrandt was the other painting stolen during the same heist. This is the Concert by Vermeer.
Wow.
Right, both stolen at the same time, I think in 1991 or thereabouts from Boston.
Good guess.
Yeah, so great guess there, Pat, when that Storm on the Sea of Galilee. Vinoo, actually. All right, Dan, your next question. Who captained India to a gold medal in football at the 1962 Asian Games and the runners-up position at the 1964 AFC Asian Cup? He also captained the Bengal cricket team to the Ranji Trophy final in 1971-72.
Singh.
Loving these. Pat?
Pass.
Okay, glad you didn't say Kumar or something. Venkat?
This is Chuni Goswami.
This is Chuni Goswami, absolutely. Subimal Goswami, or Chuni Goswami as he was known, former football captain of India, also represented his state, Bengal, my state as well, incidentally, in Ranji Trophy, which is the domestic cricket tournament of India. That's Chuni Goswami. Pat, your question. Appropriately translating to persistent or diligent in the native language, MATMID is the frequent flyer program of which airline, whose name itself appropriately means skyward. In May 1960, the airline assisted in the capture and transfer of Nazi criminal Adolf Eichmann.
Can you guys hear Abhinav? Is it a problem with me or with Abhinav?
You can hear him.
I can hear it.
You can, right? Okay.
Yeah. El Al.
El Al is absolutely correct. That's what the captors kind of flew from Buenos Aires to Jerusalem. Pat, your next question. The symbol for which letter in the English alphabet is derived from the Egyptian hieroglyphic for a fence?
H.
H is correct. That's what you could say a fence sort of looks like. Terrific answer there by Pat. I think he's missed only 2 questions, very sort of India-heavy ones. All right, Vinoo. In 1951, when Eric Coates appeared on this radio show, he chose a work of his own called A Waltz for Orchestra, along with works by Henryk Wieniawski and Fritz Kreisler. What radio program, which featured his own By the Sleepy Lagoon as the opening theme, was he appearing in? This program, still being aired, has been termed the greatest radio program of all time. Seconds.
Desert Island Discs.
Shouldn't have taken you all that long. This is Desert Island Discs. Well done. You were stranded on a desert island. What music would you take with you? Vinoo, which Western African ethnic group forms more than a quarter of Nigeria's population, having more first language speakers than any other African language? Distributed between the river Niger and Lake Chad, Nigeria's change of capital from coastal Lagos to central Abuja was influenced by their stronger presence in the new capital.
Hausa.
Hausa is correct. Great answer there by Vinoo, who moves on to 12. All right, 5 rounds over, 3 to go, 12, 11, 7, and 5. Venkat, over to you. The Onion has published the same 200-word article, differing only in some details, 19 times since it was first published on 27 May 2014 in connection with events that occurred in Isla Vista, California. The headlines on all of these articles read "No way to prevent this. There's only nation where this regularly happens." So what are these articles about? If you have 1 or 2 keywords, we'll give you the points.
These are those Californian wildfires.
Not Californian wildfires, Dan.
Gun violence.
Gun violence is perfect. Gun violence, shootings, the school shootings, all of that. Gun violence gets you points. Dan, of course, knows all about these. Well done.
I mean, I guess.
No, you just know all about it. That's all. All right. Venkat. What name is given to an organic compound in which the hydroxyl functional group is bound to a carbon atom? Used as disinfectants, the 14th century alchemist John of Rupesisa believed one of these compounds to be the quintessential life-giving 5th element.
Phenols. Or enols.
Not phenols, Dan.
Pass.
Pat.
Pass.
Vinoo.
No, pass.
Okay, let's just tell you that it's used for much more than just disinfectants. This is alcohol. These are alcohols, right? The OH sort of thing there. And Dan, what word in the English dictionary comes from the legislator in ancient Greece who was known for his harsh laws?
Draconian.
Simple as that. Draconian, good answer there. Your next question, a word that may be used to describe what trivia writers are trying to do with every piece of information they gather. What is the highest scoring 8-letter word according to the Collins Scrabble words list? In classic Scrabble, the word is possible only with a blank. But if you play the word on 2 triple word squares with one of the 10-point letters on a double letter, you get 378 points in addition to 50 more if you empty out your rack. Again, I'll give you a few extra seconds.
Quizzing.
Bit of a prompt there. You want to improve that? Have an answer?
I don't know. I feel the only thing it probably doesn't fit is the total number of points. So I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Pat.
Pass.
Vinoo?
Us.
Venkat?
Pass.
Okay, Venkat using all his crossword expertise there. But this is Quizify, right? Just the last 2 letters there, Dan. Quizify is the word. This is supposedly the highest scoring 8-letter word in Scrabble. You can get a total of 428 points for playing that.
Never knew there was a word like that.
Yeah.
It would have been
Lots
fine.
of- Lots
I
of
think
words in
quizzing-
Scrabble, I suppose, that do not exist in spoken vocabulary, but there you go. So that's what we've been trying to do with every piece of information we gather, quizify it, apparently. All right, Pat. After listener totals started getting measured in the early 30s, this show briefly took over from Amos and Andy to be the top radio show in the US. The host of the program, born Isidore Itzkowitz, coined the term March of Dimes, heavily promoting this organization that was focused on combating polio. Who was this apostle of pep? Incidentally, his surname refers to a person who leads people in singing or sometimes in prayer.
Cantor.
Cantor is correct. This is Eddie Cantor. Cantor is also a person who leads people in singing and in choirs and stuff. Pat, your next question. One of the rare headlines that has its own Wikipedia entry is this one from Variety newspaper that generally covers Hollywood and the entertainment industry. Reading Wall Street lays an egg, the term and its variations has been used in other similar situations since then. The question though is, which year did this headline appear?
$1929.
1929, the beginning of the Great Depression. Absolutely, Pat. There you go. 13 to you, and Vinoo chance to catch up and even better that. While the overall artwork has the dubious distinction of being the most stolen in history, a particular panel from the overall work was stolen in 1934. The mastermind behind that theft on his deathbed said that he had modeled the heist on the plot of an Arsene Lupin story called The Hollow Needle. Which panel is this, which is the only part of the overall artwork not recovered yet? Ultimately, what is the overall artwork?
Ghent altarpiece.
This is the Ghent altarpiece by the Van Eycks. I think the righteous judges or the just judges panel is the specific panel being referred to, but Ghent altarpiece gives you points. We know what type of igneous rocks are formed from the rapid cooling of lava that is rich in magnesium and iron. They make up the majority of volcanic rocks on Earth, often forming spectacular columns. Giant's Causeway in Northern Ireland is the most famous example, comprising 40,000 interlocking columns of these rocks.
Basalt.
Basalt, simple as that. And Vinoo moves to 14. 2 rounds to go, 16 questions. Venkat, what is the frequent flyer program of Sichuan Airlines, the largest airline in Western China, named in tribute to? Okay, basically, what is it named in tribute to? If it helps, Sichuan is home to more than 30% of the world's population of these presentable entities.
Tribute to the panda.
This is the Panda, perfect. The frequent flyer program is called the Golden Panda Club. And pandas were, of course, diplomatic presence and stuff like that. Very presentable entities, either way. Venkat, your next question. Ajay Devgan will play the role of which man considered the greatest to coach India in the 2022 autobiographical film Maidan? Fondly known as Dash Saab, it was under his tenure that India had its greatest footballing years in the 50s and early 60s. Under him, India won gold at the 51 and 62 Asian Games and made the 1956 Olympic semifinals.
PK Banerjee.
Not PK Banerjee, he was actually a player at that time. He played the Olympics and all that. Dan,
Pass.
Pat,
Pass.
Vinoo.
Pass.
All right, no one gets that. This is Syed Rahim, or Rahim Saab as he was known, the legendary coach of the Indian football team, S.A. Rahim. And yes, we did make the semi-finals in the 1956 Olympics. Unbelievable if you think of where Indian football is these days. All right, Dan, your question. The symbol for which letter in the English alphabet is derived from an ox's head? The simplest representation of this ox head was a sideways triangle intersected by a straight line, which, when rotated, gives us the letter in question.
A.
No problems there for Dan. This is A. Your next question. Which desert-dwelling sub-ethnic group of the Berber people inhabit the areas around the Sahara Desert, ranging from Libya to Burkina Faso? Also called the blue people for the indigo dye-colored clothes they traditionally wear and which stains their skin, the music group Tinariwen are among the ethnic group's biggest world exports.
The Tuareg.
The Tuareg is absolutely correct, Dan. Well done. So the Tuaregs. Pat, your question. In organic chemistry, what name is given to the cyclic group C6H5, which is derived by removing one hydrogen atom from benzene? A product with a similar sounding name is widely used for floor cleaning products, typically derived from pine oil. So again, the generic, right, of the cyclic group.
Terpene.
Not that, Dan.
Pass.
Vinoo?
Phenyl.
Phenyl is correct. C6H5 is phenyl, where you replace the hydrogen from the benzene ring by a different element. So that's phenyl. Vinoo moves to 15. Pat, which four-letter word that can get you 29 points without any bonus tile in Super Scrabble, but not more than 19 in the classic Scrabble game, originates from a 19th century slang term meaning energy or zest and was selected as the word of the 20th century in 2000 by the American Dialect Society?
Jazz.
Seconds. Jazz is correct, Pat. Well done. This is jazz. Classic Scrabble has only one Z, so the only way you can get to that is by using a blank, which doesn't get you points. But Super Scrabble has two Zs, right? 200 tiles, two Zs. And that's how you can get two tenors with two Zs. So great answer there by Pat, takes him on to 14. And Vinoo, here are your two directs. Which German Freiherr and geographer with a famous nephew is noted for coining the term Seidenstrasse and Seidenstrassen? Silk Road or routes in 1877.
Richthofen.
Friedrich von Richthofen is absolutely correct. Uncle of Manfred von Richthofen, better known as the Red Baron. What an answer. We know two composers are tied at 14 nominations apiece without a single win for the best original score Oscar. One of them became the first composer to be awarded an honorary Oscar for Lifetime Achievement in 1986. The other, whose scores include the original soundtracks for The Shawshank Redemption and American Beauty, continues to be active and let's hope will make it on stage in the years to come. You can give us either name.
Nyman.
Sorry, say that again.
Nyman.
Not Nyman. Done.
Morricone.
Not Ariel Morricone, who famously won for the Hateful Eight finally after several nominations. Pat?
Newman.
Newman. Thomas Newman is the person we were looking for. This Thomas Newman is one of the two composers, the other being, does anyone know who the other one was? Alex North, right? Composer in the 40s and 50s. Alex North got 14 nominations, and the Academy finally got embarrassed and sort of gave him an honorary Oscar. Thomas Newman's yet to get that, but hopefully he'll get an Oscar soon. Last round now, 16, 15, 9, and 8. Venkat, your question. The Greek god of dreams lends his name to what word in the English dictionary to define a drug that sends its users into a dreamlike state due to the high it brings?
Morpheus, morphine.
Morphine from Morpheus is the right answer. Good one by Venkat. Your last direct for today. The city of Phnom Penh is a primate city with a population more than 15 times that of Siem Reap, the second largest city in the country. Siem Reap is also a popular tourist destination thanks to its proximity to which World Heritage Site that was built in the early 12th century at the behest of Suryavarman II?
Angkor Wat.
Angkor Wat, or Yashodharapura as it was called earlier. Perfect answer. That takes Venkat to 10. Dan, your last two directs. In 2021, popular actress Samantha was hailed for a performance as Raji, a Sri Lankan Tamil liberation fighter, on the Amazon Prime video series Family Man. Given Raji's background and mission, which real-life figure who assassinated a former Indian Prime Minister while he was not in office is she reminiscent of?
I don't think I know this. Pass.
Passing to Pat.
Pass.
Vinoo?
No, pass.
Venkat?
Tanu.
Dhanu is correct. This is Dhanu or Tenmodi. That was a real name. Assassinated Rajiv Gandhi in 1991, among many others, of course, but she was one of the people indicted for the act, spent a few years in prison. Dan, your last question, last direct for today. What two-word in vogue term was used for the first time in May 2020 as a hashtag on Twitter by Elisa Perego, an archaeologist in London? Although no official cause has been discovered yet, the ailment usually presents symptoms like fatigue, shortness of breath, and cognitive dysfunction that lasts for at least 2 months and cannot be explained by an alternative diagnosis.
Long COVID?
Long COVID is correct. This is how the term came in vogue in May 2020, long COVID. And that takes Dan to 10 as well. So all 4 players reaching double figures. Pat, your last two directs. What common destructive fate is entwined in the following works of art? Cloud Fortress by Masayuki Nagare, Tapestry by John Miro, Ideogram by James Rosati, and Skygate, New York by Louise Nevelson.
They were all destroyed in the 9/11 attack.
Perfect answer from Pat. All of these paintings were destroyed in the September 11 attacks in 2001. That's 16 to Pat. And your last direct. As might be expected, Kuala Lumpur is the largest city in Malaysia, but which city, the capital of the state of Penang, comes in at second? Not to be confused with the South American capital, it was named after a British king famous for his madness.
Georgetown.
Georgetown with the space is correct. Georgetown without is the capital of Guyana. And that takes Pat to 17. Let's see if Vinoo can get both his directs and win this one. All right, Vinoo, myalgic encephalomyelitis is an ailment of unknown cause distinguished by symptoms like lengthy flare-ups after minor physical or mental activity, diminished capacity to complete tasks that were routine before the illness, and sleep disturbances. So what three-word term abbreviated to CFS is commonly used to refer to this ailment?
Chronic fatigue syndrome.
What an answer. Chronic fatigue syndrome. Can't really fatigue Vinoo after 8 rounds of quizzing, can you now? So that's 17 to Vinoo. Well done. Here's your chance to win this outright. The last question for this evening, gentlemen, coming your way. Playing during the 1920s and 1930s, Pushto Bihari Pal was the first captain of India's football team. He was also India's first footballer to be given a Padma Shri Award, the 4th highest civilian award in India. So what nickname referring to a landmark begun in the 7th century BC was he given thanks to his excellent defending skills?
Great Wall.
The Great Wall is fine. I'll give it to you. I mean, I guess we know which Great Wall
We
you're
need a
talking
prompt.
about.
We need a prompt, DG. I'm sorry. We need a
Okay,
prompt.
We need a prompt. Fine, just go ahead. Give it. I would have given it to you, but Vinoo, tell us more.
Great Wall of China.
That's all we needed, really. The Great Wall of China,
Yeah.
or Chiner
I don't-
Prachir in Bangla. This is the Great Wall of China, is what Goshtapal was called. That
feel
gives
that's a-
Vinoo the outright win for this quarterfinal. Very well done, Vinoo. You finish with 18. Pat, you also make the semifinals for Tier 1 with 17. Venkat and Dan, really, really well played. Bad luck, though. It's a tough field there, 11 and 10. But just how good was this game? Just 8 questions and answers, 56 correct answers between all of you. Well
thought
done.
that
Thank you
nickname-
very much.
Thank you. Abhinav.
Good luck.
Thanks so much for reading. I thought the nickname was going to be Great Wall of India. It was going to be a tricky thing.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
thinking that was a trick there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
All
great
right.
game, guys.
All right.
Well played.
Okay, guys.
Great.
Nice.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.